Can you guys believe we're in already February, past Valentine's Day, and I'm ready to do a market update again. So I do monthly market updates for 38 to Destin area because it's really important that you stay informed what is happening here. And I'd like to show you how our homes compare to city and neighborhood to neighborhood, and also how they compare to the Florida and the national data. That gives you a good indication on what you have to spend if you want to relocate to the area, and also understand a little bit about what our market is doing. So many of you know that the beginning of the year is our selling season. It's typically very busy. I have seen some increase in activity. I got several of my listings under contract and closed, and also have a couple of my buyers under contract right now. So as you can tell, there are still people who are waiting for that market crash to happen, and I will elaborate a little bit later on this in my video to give you my thoughts if this is really truly going to happen. But I can tell you for a fact that we are in a buyer's market. Inventory has been sitting for a while, and now is a good time to negotiate something for you. So let's go ahead and dive into this market update. Sabine Robertson, broker owner here with Haus Realty, and my beautiful daughter Christina works with me, and we together help numerous buyers and sellers here in the Emerald Coast. So if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel so that you won't miss next month's market update. Without further ado, let's jump into the data.
Well, here we go again, the end of February 2025, and we're going to start with Santa Rosa Beach here on 30A. So before I jump right into some interesting data, you have to remember that almost kind of taking our Santa Rosa Beach here into 4 quadrants. So here over here we got North Santa Rosa Beach, and I just did a cost to own video, and the average price North Santa Rosa Beach, you're looking at right about 500, low 500s. And then if you go over to Point Washington area right over here, there is several new constructions, and the average price is right around $825K. And then if you go south of 98, this is where your prices really get more expensive. And this is our famous 30A road. And you have 30A West End. And you're looking roughly about 1.1 million. You can find something maybe in the 700-800 range. But the average median price is sitting right above $1 million. And then if you go east on 30A, it goes all the way up to 1.4 million, but pay attention that Water Sound Origin and Rosemary Beach and Alice Beach, here is where all our very expensive homes are not included in this data. So your question is, why do I do this? Well, I do this to show you how pricing is different all across the spectrum here. We are definitely in a buyer's market. There is wiggle room to negotiate. Buyers are asking for closing cost credit or a reduction in sales price, and the median price is about $950 for this area. But remember, I just showed you it all depends on your location. But what's really interesting is take a look at this graph and how Walton County and Santa Rosa Beach compares to the Florida and national data. So you can see pretty much what the cost of living is. The good news is, and that's why we are jumping into also Freeport, Destin, and Niceville, there are opportunities for all different price points. Before I jump into Freeport, I want to point something out to you. In July 2022, the median sales price was $1 million. Look at that. It kind of went back up and down, and now look at where we're sitting right here. We're sitting at $1,043,000. Not much changes from 22 to 24. It kind of goes up and down a little bit, but nothing that, really indicates that the market is crashing. So when is this market going to crash, or is it crashing? It looks like it's pretty stable for the last 3 years in terms of prices. Well, you need to really remember that in 2008, a lot of people had mortgages that they couldn't afford because they had adjustable mortgages, and they were lenders qualified people for mortgages left and right that really shouldn't have been qualified. So then when the prices jumped up, and interest rates jumped up, they couldn't afford these homes. And that was causing the foreclosure. Today, over 40% of people either own their homes outright or have a lot of equity in their homes and don't necessarily need to foreclose on their homes. Well, let's go ahead and jump into Freeport now. Well, look at Freeport. My goodness sake. Yes, this is Freeport, my friends, and it is one of the fastest growing counties here. So much new construction. So before I jump into the data, they're building all these new communities here in Owl's Head. Hammock Bay has probably the most partial IDs owners. They're still building new construction in Hammock Bay, gets its own middle school now that they're building. And then you have a brand new community coming up here. Well, Winstep Estate is so much option to buy a brand new home. So just last week, my daughter Christina, she went to visit all the new construction communities and gathered some information. And your medium sold price is sitting right at $400. That's slightly up from last month because I know we were in the high threes. So, and how does Freeport compare to our national and Florida statistical data? So look up here. This is Walton County. Obviously, Walton County average is so much higher because we just looked at Santa Rosa Beach. So Freeport is just in line with the Florida and also the national average. In terms of national average, we are slightly above the national average, but Florida and Freeport just perfectly in line, as you can see here. Well, next we're going to go and jump into Destin area, and this is now a different county. Different short-term rental guidelines apply to Walton County and Okaloosa County. If you're looking to buy an investment property, keep in mind that most of the residential homes north of 98 in Destin do not allow short-term rental, and that is regulated by the county. If you would like to find out more about that, reach out to us and we can tell you exactly which areas do allow short-term rentals and which ones don't. Most of the condos, of course, can all be short-term rentals. Of course, there is always an exception. There's a few, like Harbor Lights, one of my favorite condominiums, that does not allow short-term rentals. So let's go ahead and dive into some Destin data. Medium sold price, $475 for Destin. Remember, I'm only doing single family. Destin has a lot more condos than, for example, in Santa Rosa Beach. So there is a big difference, but we're only looking at single family home to kind of keep it consistent throughout. And look at the graph, very similar what you saw in Santa Rosa Beach. There's a little bit more of the prices went down a little bit more here in Destin than in Santa Rosa Beach. But if you take a look at it, how it compares, here is the red line is your US and then your Okaloosa line, and Florida is a little bit higher actually and then Destin, of course, is the most expensive area here in Okaloosa County. About 6-8 months ago, I had somebody reach out to me and ask me to include Niceville. So here is the Niceville data. If you're still watching my market update, I would love for you to comment below and let me know that you are finding these helpful for the Niceville area. Niceville, both my kids went to Niceville High School. It's a very beautiful area that's developed. There is also some new construction. So let's take a look at Niceville. Look at this. Niceville is still in a seller's market. So a little bit different, right, than Destin. But the medium sold price is actually higher. Well, it's because you get more for your money too. Remember that. In Freeport and Niceville, the homes are bigger, larger compared to Destin. They're older, and Santa Rosa Beach, they're probably smaller lot sizes. So there's a lot of variable factors that you have to consider. But again, if you look at the overall graphs here, which I think you really need to go and look at, that is so important. 2022, we're in 2025. Not a whole lot of changes here, my friends. Coming up and down, a little variable on interest rates. There's definitely some new construction in Niceville as well. So here you have some data just to take a quick look how Niceville compares to our Okaloosa line. It's above Okaloosa and it's way above Florida and the national average. So remember, I can pull a market update for you in any of these areas. We covered Freeport, we covered Niceville, we covered a little bit of Destin. I didn't touch Miramar Beach, and then of course Santa Rosa Beach. If you're thinking about buying in Rosemary Beach or in Miramar Beach or in any of the surrounding areas, please reach out to me so I can send you a specific report. I can even customize that to a specific neighborhood. So if you're interested like in Burnt Pines or, for example, in Cypress Breeze or any of the communities, I can do a very specific detailed report for you. Remember the ups and downs that you saw over the last 3-4 years, they always are directly correlated to the interest rates. Even though we do have a lot of cash buyer in this area, we also will have a lot of first-time home buyers or people who do need financing. So the interest rates increase your buying power and definitely affect what is happening in our local market. The 10-year Treasury bond is kind of important to correlate what's going on with the interest rates and how they're jumping. Now, we are still waiting for these interest rates to come down into the 5s. When will that happen? Boy, do I wish I knew, but I don't. Expert had predicted it was going to happen the end of last year. Here we are in February and we still haven't seen it. But when you're looking a little bit here, the prices have come down. And honestly, I have seen an increased activity in the market. I work with both buyers and sellers, and I love to do it that way because that puts me right in touch what's going on the market. I have more buyers reaching out to see my properties, and also I am working with more buyers currently that are ready to make offers. And before I finish up, remember, don't wait for the market to crash, because now it is still a buyer's market, even in Niceville and in Freeport, where it is a seller's market. Most of the new construction builders offer great incentives, even rate buy downs. So I personally think now is a good time to buy, because who knows, when those rates drop, I only foresee that we will see a lot more buyers coming into the market.
As you can see by watching this video, Santa Rosa Beach even is divided into 4 quadrants, and then Freeport, which are both located in Walton County. And then if you move over to Okaloosa County, you got a little bit of a snapshot for Destin and also for Niceville area. Keep in mind the data I'm reflecting is always from January, because it doesn't show up until the end of the months to reflect so that I can analyze the data. Just last week, I got this email from one of my lenders, and I thought it was really good, and I was going to share it with you a little bit, but it was an email why the market won't tank like it did in 2008. So almost 20 years ago. Back then, borrowers were allowed to access to mortgages they couldn't afford. And a lot of them were doing variable rates. So then when the rates changed, they couldn't afford their monthly payment and therefore had to go under foreclosure. Well, very few borrowers use variable rates. Most of them are on a fixed rate. And also their income verification process has changed significantly since the crash. Today, where almost over 40% are cash buyers, especially here in this area, they have so much equity buildup that there really is no reason for them to foreclose. So with that being said, if you look at the graphs that I showed you earlier, even over the last 3-4 years, our prices haven't really changed that much. They kind of go up and down a little bit. I do think that buyers are waiting for those interest rates to drop. And they have dropped slightly over the last 2 weeks. So if they go down into the 5s, I will predict that we will see an increased activity in our real estate market here in the Panhandle. If you have any questions, please let me know. Reach out to me. Would love to talk to you about it. Until the next time, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, und goodbye.